Hey guys, how you doing? Everybody hear me all right? Uh, this is pretty much my first time doing this, so let's see how it goes. If somebody can just give me a thumbs up, you getting audio there? Are you hearing everything okay? Raven Media, Hercules, welcome. Cool, man. Okay, so let's see. Uh, Audio is great. Okay, wonderful. Thank you, Catherine. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm just going to dive right in. I got a little itinerary here, so let's see how we go. Yeah, so most of you know me. I've been like 30 years in post and animation and VFX for a good many years, and yeah, I don't know what do you call that? Not a boomer yet, I hope. Gen Gen B or whatever. But yeah, I've got some experience. And this whole system was born out of the disruptive time we're in with AI coming along. So it really is a tool born out of really a necessity, I guess. But let me dive right in here. Sorry, I'm just juggling a couple of things here. I've got no wingman with me, so doing all of this myself. So can you guys see that? This guy, yeah. Okay, there we go. Okay, so yeah, so I mean, I think we're all trying to scramble to keep up with AI. So I built this little system. I'm going to run you through some of the features. So what will happen is when you first start up, you'll go to login. Okay. So what we've got here is you'll start at the settings page. And what you'll have is anything from between 1 and 10 project slots. You can you'll have to set up your drive. Let me just sign out here again. There we go. Okay, so you'll sign in like this. You'll get an email like so. That'll take you to your settings page. Okay, this is really where you start. This is connected to Drive. It's all built around Google Drive. And you'll have to connect to a folder on Google Drive. Basically, what you'll do is you will create a folder anywhere on your Google Drive account. I've got it in my projects folder in here. Okay, any single folder, you create that on your Google Drive account, and then you connect here to that folder. I'm not going to disconnect now because it'll just take up too much time. That's the first step. You then set a master project repository, which is that folder that you created. You then will have these project slots. What you can do is you can open up an empty slot, type in a name, and create the project. And that will create the folder and all the necessary associated folders in that folder on Drive. Okay. So if we look here, I'm going to use this What Dreams Remain project. It's a short form project that I created just for this very purpose. And if you go there, you'll see What Dreams Remain. All of these folders get created automatically through that process. Okay. And then you get these options here. These are the parts of the system. So basically, we've got PAL, which is a previs and layout tool. LCBE, I'm going to touch on that. That's a breakdown engine. TLS, and I'm not going to go into. Spectacle is a review and daily system. Link is what I'm going to focus on today. Resolver, Hub, and Drive. Drive is just a shortcut to the Drive folder of that project. everything is contained in this drive folder. So if you cancel your subscription today, this all stays on your drive folder. You keep all that data, all your generations, all the prompts, everything stays in there. Okay. Before we go into link, I just wanted to take you to the hub. Hub is the kind of admin section that kind of manages all of your accounts and that kind of thing. So we've got shortcuts here. We've got an account section here. This will be your account. What it tells you is your wallet. You can top up your credits. It's all credit based. You can buy credits there. Your account type. We've got alerts, low balance alerts. We've got two-factor authentication, which you can enable. Cancel subscription. We've also got, I'm not gonna go, billing. We're going to billing. You can see your subscription. This is pretty cool. AI spend is your subscription. How much you've spent today on this project. Your subscription. This is an enterprise subscription that I'm using to demo. This is your average cost per call. We've got your wallet, current status. We've also got a bring your own keys split. This is interesting. So what you can do is you can actually, if we go back to settings, and we go to vendors and API keys, what you can do, you can enter your own API keys. So you can go to any of these vendors. They've usually got a developer page. You can actually sign up and get an API key. You can plug that API key in here. We go back to Hub. Forgive me, I just got to get this. This is the two-factor authentication at work. I've just got to bang that in there. Hang on. 121302. And I use an app on my phone to generate those tokens. So if we go to billing, what it does is you can see we've got a split here. So if you enter your own API keys, it automatically uses your own API keys. You won't have to do anything. It'll just default to that. If you don't have any API keys in there, it uses the house key, which is the Lenscowboy key. So you can actually manage that. If you want to manage your own credits and pay those vendors all separately and individually, you can do that. Okay. If you don't want to do that, it's managed internally by Lenscowboy. Okay. And here's a breakdown. This is also pretty cool. You can see exactly how many credits you spent by vendor, by site, by kind, by which model you're using, and also by project. If you have multiple projects going, you can see exactly how much how much was spent on each project. I'm not going to go into teams. There's some live stuff in there. Project this is actually an on-road into LCBE, which is a larger long format tool. And what you do is you actually can create a new project. Not only create a new project, but you can create you actually ingest your script here. So you'll drag and drop an FDX here. You decide which slot you want to plug it into, which project you want to create this project for. And then you can ingest your script. There's a whole lot of stuff here. If there's tags in your script, I'm not going to go into this now because this is a bit of a larger conversation, but you pull your script in here, it analyzes it, and it breaks it down for you. And from there, you can jump into LCBE. Integrations is where we've got some external integrations. We've got Discord. You can get Discord notifications. Houdini, you generate API keys. There's a system called Large that I've developed. How are we doing there? Are you guys still there? No. I think we might have lost the live stream. Are you guys still there? Okay, great. So we've got Discord here. You get Discord notifications. We've got Houdini. You generate an API key. And again, I won't go into this. There's a plugin for Houdini where you can actually export things from Houdini into link. More on that later. And then some social publishing. What you can do is you can go straight out of link into with it. There's an Instagram node, there's a TikTok node, there's a Facebook node. I've got threads and LinkedIn coming soon. MCP, I'm going to touch on this, is quite exciting. What you can do is you can actually publish, it will soon be able to publish any graph and expose that as an API to AI models. So basically what you could do, you could build a graph and offer that up as a tool to an AI engine, which is very cool. I won't go into that in too much detail, but that's very powerful. That and the version 1 of the API is coming soon. That opens up a lot of power. And settings will take you back to settings. Okay, so let's go straight into Link, which is what I want to show you. So Link is a Lenscowboy interactive node kit. And basically it's this guy here. It's kind of like a hybrid compositor. And I'm just gonna, what does the graph do? This graph. Okay, I'm gonna show you now. It does a lot of stuff. I'm only going to touch on a few things, but basically there's a whole bunch of nodes that you can build node graphs for, mainly built around generative workflows. It's not a nuke. It's not a, the main difference is that this is in browser and it's in the cloud. It's not a, there is a local agent you can download and install. I'll touch on that in a moment. But the fundamental kind of mindset is that it's not online, it's not local, and it's not like on your machine like a nuke would normally be. But let me just go into it and I'll show you. So what I wanted to show you first of all was there's a range of designer nodes. So this ties into LCB, which is the breakdown engine. But basically, if you ingest your script in LCB, it pulls all your data from there and it makes it available in Link. We're not gonna pull data from there. I'm just gonna go cold. But what we'll do is we'll design a character. This is a character designer node. You can plug in a range of references here if you want to reference characters that you're pulling in. But I'm not going to do that. So I'm going to say I'm going to use Nano. In fact, I'm going to use Flash because it's quite fast. And I'm going to got to give it a name. So I'm going to say, oh, before we do that, what I did was, before I do that, I've generated a little script here. I just said, write me a simple 12-shot script that I can import. And then it gave me this. It's just a AI generated script, 12 shots of a dragon landing on a beach with 2 kids. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say storyboard. And then I'm going to open storyboard. I'm going to put this in here. Okay, I'm just going to paste that whole script in here. Okay, close that for now. But basically what I've got in the scripts, I've got 2 characters called Mila and Ari. Okay, so I'm going to give this guy a name, Ari. And then go into full body 2K, that's fine. Go into character designer. I'm going to say, what are we saying? We're going to say the name's Ari. I'm going to leave everything default. What it'll do is it'll fill anything that you don't fill in here. It'll fill in by itself. It'll just generate something quite random. So we could always say hair color, I don't know, red, whatever. Chestnut brown. Okay, let's make that chestnut brown. I'm going to leave it at, no, I'm going to generate and then just say render. So, I mean, it's quite random. I haven't specified much, but you could go in and you could specify hair color. What have we got here? Design language, the role. You've got skin tone, facial hair, distinguishing features, core traits, behavior patterns, emotional baseline, body language. What's interesting to know is that this thing's not taking them. No. Stop that. Let's try again. There we go. You can control R on the node just to render it. For some reason it didn't go there. Let's have a look. Okay, so there we go. That is Ari. Pretty random. What you can do is you can refine a bit if you want. I'm not going to spend too much time doing this, but you could say age. Let's make him a bit younger, 16. And let's try. You also got styles. You could say cinematic realism. Let's go for claymation render. Some reason it's not working in the node. Let's try that again. On his nose. Okay. Let's roll it. You can see the log output here in the log output section. L to hide that. We've also got some data here. Alt V or V hides the viewer. Alt V hides that bottom block. There's also a help section here with all the keyboard shortcuts if you want to dive into that. But let's carry on with this character designer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another node here, and I'm going to call it Mila. That was the other character in the Mila. Okay, go in there. Let me just check here. You also get on the node itself, you get a history tab, so you can go back to any render that was generated in the past on the node. Oh, it was generating those images there. I thought it had stopped. Okay. And you can go and you can select any node that was generated in the past with those with that icon there. This is a pin button. You can pin the output of this node. This is a lock just to cache it, and this actually auto saves to drive. So if you go to the drive here, you'll be able to see in your link folder in that project output dated folders, today's date, and you can see there's all your renders. Okay. So let's do Mila. We're staying with Flash. I'm going to say we want to make a female and give her, I don't know, magenta hair, pink hair. Okay, cool. Make her 16 as well. I don't know, he looks a bit older than 16, but let's roll with it. Okay, try that. And then when will then be now? Just now, Spaceballs. Jonathan. Okay, so yeah, so the iPad. I didn't order an iPad, but that's fine. Let's go with it. Okay, we've got those two characters. And then we need a dragon. So let's go creature designer. We go dragon. Just call it the name's dragon. It needs a name because the name's going to get referenced in the storyboard node. Okay, creature designer. I'm going to stay with Nano. GPT does very nice stuff as well. It just takes a bit longer, so I'm just going to stay with this for now because. And then you got a whole lot of different attributes here. So category, reference blend, the role. Is it an apex predator? The temperament. Is it a there's a lot you can customize. Eye arrangement, tail, appendages, distinguishing features, the surfacing, texture detail, pattern, sheen, bioluminescence, movement and voice, the CGI spec, idle behavior, habitat, lighting, color tone, and there's more direction you can add in here. We're also going to do, so we're going to say category. We're going to say it's a beast. We're going to say reference blend, mate. I'm going to just say, well, let's just go with that. Yeah, dragon. Style strength is how much this style is applied. I'm going to leave it at 0.6, which is the baseline. 3/4. Let's render that. Again, it's quite random. I don't know what I'm going to get. You might want to spend more time finessing. You can also plug in your own external stuff. So you can generate stuff from outside of link and drag it in. If you shift drag something in here, it'll upload it to your drive automatically. Okay, but for now I'm going to go with that. Then I'm going to say storyboard, go back into storyboard. We've got our, let's just paste it in there. So we've got our, before we go in there, all over the place today. What you can do is you can say how many rows and columns you want in your storyboard, how many pages. It's up to you. You can have character name. You're not going to use that because you've got them coming in. The style of the storyboard, ink, line, hair, color, animatic. You're going to stay with graphite rough. What engine you want to use what vendor you want to use to generate. But anyway, let's pull those in there. I'm going to plug these guys into the reference multi-input port there. You can have up to 16 refs in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to say storyboard, put that in there. And now what it'll do is it'll automatically resize the board to fit the shot. The frame is 12. Yeah, I'll start at frame 1. I'm going to say import panels. Import that, and what you'll do is you'll see it'll have broken out that script into all the panels. Just make sure we've got 12. We've got one page of 12 panels. That's right. Okay. You can manually create shots. So if you wanted to add a shot here, you can add an extra panel. You can do it manually. I've just pulled it all in together. And what it'll do then, if you go to the assets tab, you'll see you've got your 3 characters plugged in there. And then what you can do is you can generate all panels. It'll take a few minutes because, well, hopefully not too long, but each image is a separate call. So let's see what it does. There we go. So it is quite random. I'll show you now. We're going to have a deeper dive into the control using PAL, but I'll show you that now, and it'll do that in the background. So there we go. Exterior beach, day aerial, wide aerial, an empty crescent of white sand meets green water, a single shadow slides across the beach. Not quite what I had in mind, but it'll churn that out. Okay, so what you can do now is you can obviously you might want to tune. Oh, we don't want to do that. We want to maybe tune this. We can go in here. You can double click a panel like so. And what we've got now is we've got a layer-based system. You can see you've got your sketch base and you've got this nano banana call over that. What you could also do, you could also say have a 3D base that'll launch PAL, and you can then work in PAL. PAL is a browser-based 3D app, and it should load. It comes with 2 installed HDRIs from HDRI Haven. You can install your own if you want, but it comes with these 2 as standard. Okay, and basically you just flip the orbit, and that's good. Okay, there's a whole lot of things you can customize in as the settings panel there, but basically you could drag and drop your any 3D GLB usually for browsers. If you go to your source objects folder, if you just drop any 3D asset in there, and then you go back to link, what you can do is if you refresh this little guy here in the library tab, these are the objects in the scene. If you go to the library tab, these are some primitives that it comes with. These are like your default, your standard primitives. These are all the things, all the models in the source objects folder there. So I've actually downloaded some dragons from Sketchfab, and it was this one, I think it was. Yeah, I like this one, and it is animated, so it all comes in animated. I downloaded it as it is in like that from Sketchfab. And what you can do now, you can look through the camera, and we have a if you right click, you got WASD mode, which is Unreal style kind of navigation, which is pretty cool. But say you want to reframe up this, if we go here, so we want to generate something different for this. So if we go back to 3D base, and we look through the camera, what you can do is we can, I don't know, maybe something like this lower angle. We can set a keyframe, make sure you got your camera selected. Sets keyframes, you got a timeline at the bottom here. This timeline is universal, so you'll see this timeline, Shift T, Shift C, curve editor. This is in many areas it's universal to link and to LCBE, so it's a shared system. So set a keyframe in there. What you can do as well when you're looking through the camera is you can select your camera, the camera model, the sensor size, the lenses. You've got a range of lenses: Zeiss, Arri, Cooke, Leica, Sigma, Atlas, Hawk, and Angino zoom. If you switch to a zoom, you'll see you get a little zoom slider here. And this is all accurate. You can see the sensor size. It's all physically plausible, and they're all real world camera settings. Let's just go with the, what do we go with, the Zeiss? And we'll go with the, if you right click these arrows here or Shift Alt drag, you can step through the lenses. Yeah, 35 mm. So we'll go to like a, I don't know, 29 mm Zeiss Supreme Prime. Okay. Keyframe that again, and then what to do is we can render that out. Render, and we'll go 1920 1080. We don't need any of this stuff. Depth, alpha, ID mat. We won't save to drive. We're just going to render that. That does a single frame render to a single frame render using the browser. And what you've got now is you've got this base at the bottom. On top of that, you get a sketch base. So you could sketch over this if you wanted to, I'm using a mouse, so it's a bit clunky. But anyway, let's clear that. I'm just going to use the sketch base, and what it does when you generate now, it'll use the sketch and the PAL base, the 3D base together, and send that as a call to the vendor. I'm going to keep it on nano here, and I'm going to keep it on the graphite rough style. You could choose another style, but our whole board is using that style. So, and then I'm going to say generate. It'll generate a frame in the same style, using that as a as a guide. You also have a oh no, that didn't work at all. Let's try that again. Sketch space PAL. You can also say how much you want to follow the guide. You say quite tight, so that hopefully it'll follow it a bit better. Let's see. Generate rendered. Okay, that's a lot better. So you can see I didn't really want it looking down, but what you could do is you could maybe put in some geometry to indicate. You have to guide it, so you would want to indicate. You can see we have nothing in the background, so it's got no landmark bearings or anything to guide it. So you might want to put in like clouds maybe, and then to imply a low angle looking up. But anyway, that's the gist of it. Let me close that. You can see now you've replaced that panel. Okay, and it's generated the rest of our panels here. So I mean, interesting, and that's the I think that's the great thing. You can just generate as fast as you want, but you've also got the control to go in and finesse and refine as much as you want with real world lensing, all that kind of thing. You can also print this. So if you print this out to a PDF, if you want to. There you go, like so. It'll print to a printer, which is what we usually use to print. Okay, and let's just close. Well, let's do one more with let's try this one. Double click this. We'll try this with a different style. Let's go for, I don't know, color comp. Let's try that. I don't know what that's going to look like. But what's cool with the layer based, and again, this layer based, this layer system is universal. You'll see this in a couple of places. What you can do is you can toggle on and off. So, and you also have a opacity slider, so you can do what you want. And depending on what you select, you could keep them. So if I close this now, you'll see it'll save that. If I go in there and I disable that layer, it'll then go back to the former. Okay, that's basically the storyboard node and the asset design. Now, what we've also got sheet nodes for each of those. So if I go to character sheet, what you could do is you could also same story. You could many of the same attributes or the parameters, but you could also plug in. So this guy, plug him in there, and use that as a source. And then I'm going to hit run. I'm going to use ChatGPT for this. It does take a little bit longer. How to train your AI. You want to know how to train the AI. Okay, I wasn't going to touch on that, but I've got a Korea training thing I'll touch on if you want. I'll show you, but yeah, look, you can't train closed models. So it's things like Cdance and Google's models, you can't train those, but you definitely can train open source models in terms of, well, you can't train the models, but you can use LoRa's and that kind of thing to train a subset and then generate your own stuff with that. I'll touch on that. It takes a bit longer to do, so I can't do it live, but I'll show you what I have in terms of that. And what else can I tell you here? So ChatGPT usually takes about a minute and a bit, a minute and a half. But the new version of Image 2 does very nice stuff. Okay, what can I show you here? What we've got here, we've got API keys. This is where you plug in your API keys. This is the old runs. This is a queuing system. I'm moving this into Link soon, so you'll be able to queue things up and run things at the same time. We've got a scheduler. API keys, here's where you can generate API keys for Houdini and various things. You also got the whole system is actually got an ACES OCIO spine. So what you can do is you can set your working space here, and coming soon you can do custom OCIO uploads. That's also going to be available soon. I will touch on the color thing in a minute in Link, which is quite cool. I wanted to also show you LCBE. LCBE is the breakdown engine. So this is basically where you'll import your script, and you'll be able to. There we go. Okay, I'll go back to LCBE in a minute, but here's basically your character sheet. So character sheet and the designer nodes work in conjunction. You could go straight to character sheet. You don't need to create the designer. You don't need to design your character first. You could just do all of that in the sheet node, but sometimes you want the character by himself to feed into other things, and I find it works better to have them separated. But basically you can design a whole character sheet. You can feed this then into Cdance and that kind of thing, and this is very powerful because it's got a lot of character information. All of this character information is coming from your script. So this is not just random. This is actually a script that if you import your script into LCBE, all that rich data, there's a whole thing in there that I'll probably have to do another video on. But it extracts all the data, and we're talking about long form now, character consistency, and that kind of thing. Okay, one more thing I wanted to touch on. Well, let's do a once you've generated your storyboard, you also get this generate panels button. If you hit that, sorry, no approved panels. But we've got to go in storyboard, go in here. You got to whatever you approve here. So you want to approve. I don't know. I should have an approve all button, but let's do approve. Well, let's do approve all of them quickly. Let's do 8 approved. And then if you generate panels, what it'll do is it'll just generate short little thumbnails, small little thumbnails for you. And what you can do is you can then use these as starting frames or frames for shots. And basically, this is building your shot basically. One more thing I wanted to just touch on in terms of UI, you got this annotation bar that drops down here. You can lock that with that little bar. But basically using 1 to 7 keys, numbered 1 to 7, you can select each of these tools. This is basically select annotation like that. You can delete those. You've got, what do you got? A sticky. You can make stickies. You can do text, that kind of thing. And you can basically lay things out. You also got what do we got? Icons, folders. So what you can do is you can backdrop stuff. You can say backdrop, and you can organize stuff into shots. Something like this. Shot 1. You got a panel at the right side here. If you want to hit that, if you want to pull that out, it's P key. But a lot of those parameters are on the node itself. But if you want to rename stuff, so like shot 1, maybe something like that. And then you can generate shots from that. Let's try that. Okay, in terms of generation, we've got a range of things. We've got, in terms of stills, we've got flux. We've got a range of, these are all my nodes that some of them I've touched on with you now. We've got ideogram, we've got Google, we've got ByteDance, Seedream, Luma's Photon, Higgs Field Soul Model, Grok's Image, OpenAI's GPT Image, Midjourney. I actually should do away with it. They don't have an API, so it's actually not. You can get it working, but it breaks the terms of service. And in terms of video models, we've got Seedance. I've added Seedance 2.5 recently. Minimax, Runway, Kling, ZAI, Lightrix, Google, Luma, Grok, Higgsfield, and One. Sorry, Jonathan, you were asking about training AI. What we've got is we've got a. So this Kriya is a local open source model in terms of what you can do. Oh, that. I've also got a cast trainer. What you can do is let me see if we can do this. If we take one of our characters like this, this is take this guy, plug it into our cast trainer. Cast as in cast of a film, as in the characters. And what you can do is generate data set. So these are open source models. One, LTX, Kriya, Flux, Flux to a degree, Z image, and ideogram. You can create LoRa's for those, but basically what you can do is you generate a data set, which is a set of images, standard images that you're then gonna assemble and train a LoRa with. So I'm gonna stay with Nano Banana. And I'm going to do 12. You can do up to 24, which is the full set. I'm just going to stay with 12. And if I say generate data set, what it'll do, let's just see. Okay. What it'll do, it'll create, using that character that you plugged in, it'll generate a range of images in various poses and in various environments. and it's a data set. So basically, you can save the whole set, and then you can then train a LoRa. Which LoRa you're training for depends on what you select here. So if I go, I don't know, training a LoRa can take a while, so I won't do it now, but you can then, what did we say? We said 12 images. So we've got 12 images of that character. Handsome fellow despite the scar on his nose. That was an interesting contribution. Yeah, I mean, look, open source models are not as good as the big tech foundational models, but you can do amazing things with them. Anyway, you've got your data set there, and you can then select which model you want to train for. LTX, you train your LoRa. Okay, it can take like 40 minutes or sometimes an hour. I'm not going to go into that now. But then what you do, then you get a LoRa. This guy here. Text 2.3 flux. So you could say cast library, not that one. Sorry. You then get this a lot. I don't think there's anything. Oh, there is. Okay, these are LoRa's I've trained in the past. So I've got. You can see there's a character Nova, which was 1,000 steps, trained for Kriya 2. This one was the same character, trained for 2.2. So let's do that. So this was for Kriya 2. If we go to Kriya Turbo, plug that in there. I don't know what this is going to give us. Let's go for a more 3x4. I didn't have this on my non-team prompt. Let's say Kriya. No, wait, my backstation not to load. Let's try. I don't think this is gonna. No, let's just go kill that. No, I've actually don't think I've got the clear. Size 4. Let's try this one. Clear. Oh, okay. I mean, bumble around, but yeah, I've forgotten. I've forgotten actually which node it is. But basically, you'll plug a LoRa in there, and if I find the right node, it'll render it with that LoRa. Yeah. Jonathan, I don't know if that kind of half-heartedly answered your question. Let's get back to this. So, I know we 10:15 already. Yeah, so if we go straight to, let's just go straight to CDance Omni. We've got a CDance 2.5 is the new model, but it only does 720 max. I'm going to keep it at 5 seconds. I'm going to say dragon coming into land. You can maximize the prompt here, and you can fiddle if you have bad eyes like me. What else? Okay, let's just try it, see what it does. And then you can see it cold start. So I also wanted to touch on comfy. Basically what you've got is a while that's running, this is all built on a comfy backend. You've also got a range of comfy nodes here, like this. In fact, what I'll do is I'll go to, let's do this. I want to show you the rotor node that I've reworked as well. Let's try. Let's try this girl. That's Omni. Plug her in there. Mila walking through a dark cave. 25 seconds. And then we want to do rotor. Rotor node, also I've reworked the rotor node. What you've got as well is a layer-based system. So what it is it's SAM3 with some extra bits and pieces. You can select let's try this. You can select point-based. So if you in fact you can do it with prompt. So if I just type this label person on that layer and I run it, let's see what it does with. So basically what it is it's actually just open source nodes, comfy nodes that have been wrapped up into nodes, which makes it very flexible. Comfy is very powerful, but I find it very mechanic and very gets very complicated very quickly. So just wrapping things up into nodes and makes it a lot easier, I find. And I know there's a lot of creatives that are looking for that. But basically, yeah, it'll rotor out whatever you specify there. You can add another layer like so, and you can then have point based. You just go include, and you can, if you select an object or multiple objects, or like so, that'll also run that. And it is pretty fast. Should be on frame 1 if you are using video. That didn't work too well, but yeah, I mean you got to try various things. You also get a bounding box if we go for another layer, and you can say bounding box, or just do the iPad, I guess. Let's see, don't know what that's gonna do. Run that. You could also say, I probably should have said iPad on the label. It will yeah, okay, and that'll track. So you do that on frame 1, it'll track that object. If you label that iPad, you'll see it's a bit difficult to see, but there you can see iPad, and it'll use the name and the bounding box in conjunction. And what's cool is that you have layers. It keeps your layers, so you can also use these blend modes and opacity. So you can yeah. Anyway, you can go to town on that. It works very well with video, but it's a real time saver, that. And it does work pretty well in many cases. Sometimes you got to obviously you'll take this into Nuke or Fusion or whatever and clean it up, but it does give a very good starting point. Let's have a look at this. We've also got a caching system in here, so it does actually cache. You see this little cache meter over here. There's a cache, a GPU lane that I built. So it is a very robust system. Let me just hide this Alt-V, and then that is C-Dance 2.5 doing a stellar job. Anyway, yeah, so that's the gen. I've touched on roto, the color thing. So color as well, we've got it's all built on an OCIO ACES spine. So what we've got is if I take, let me take those, if I take this girl, if you go down here, what I've got is this is just a little test. So I've got some preset workflows what you can do is you can wrap things up into nodes, and you can lock them. So this is a group. These folders group things. If you double click, you can say unseal. You can also save this graph as, in fact, let's show you. You've got globals here. We've got format settings. You've got color, where you set your working color space, some GPU feedback, some caching settings. You've got an environment here. So this is relevant to when you start working local. You've got to set this folder as the local project root on your machine if you want to work local. And what it does is it basically mirrors the directory structure in Drive on your local machine, and then everything will work local. That you'll need for the local desktop app. I'll show you that in a minute. But you can customize the folder schema to a degree here, but more on that later. Provenance. This is a work in progress with the upcoming EU article, the EU AI Act Article 50. This is going to become more important. You basically have to make sure everything complies if you want to get if you want to be compliant in the European Union, and basically this system is going to allow you to do that. Basically, you have to verify, there's a whole lot of stuff involved with this. They're basically trying to fight deep fakes and deal with stuff that's abuse of AI, which I think is a good thing. More on that. And then in the UI, you can customize some UI things. I'm just gonna switch this off. This is the animation strip. It hides that. And then if we go to more, you'll see graphs. These are the graphs. You can save your graph. What's cool is you can save it as an LCG format or an LCGX format. So if you go to link graphs, you can see there demo 01 LCG. LCGX means you can lock things. You can actually lock things up. So that if you want to maybe lock up a tool and not have anybody else access it, but still use it, you can do that. This is one of those things. I'm going to unseal it, and then I'm going to ungroup the group. And basically what it is, it's a little color flow, color pipeline, really. So obviously, all the models, the vendors generate 8-bit color. So you're not at source. You don't have 32-bit. You don't have wide gamut color. So that is a limitation. But what you can do is you can work in this whole system is linear. Okay, you don't even have automatically is linear, so you don't have any input transforms. It just does it automatically. So basically what this does is it sets this to EXR space, although look, it is a clipped gamut, so you don't have that latitude coming in, but once it's in, what you do with it is all in linear color space. So what you can do is we can say format to EXR, color transform. We're going from sRGB color to linear color space, and then what you can do is you can actually hide that panel. You can actually grade if we go up to if we go up to 10, double click to reset. If we go up 10 stops, what you can see is if you sample, you can see there we're getting 5, 8, we were 19, well above 1. Okay, and then if we go back down again and we go 10 stops the other way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you can see we recapture the image. So there's no clipping. Why is there a difference there? 10. One more stop. Boom. Okay, so there's no clipping. You can throw it right up there and you can sample. I mean, you can see there's a. So what does this mean? Okay, well, we don't have the color to begin with, but once we're in here, if we push halation, it's going to behave like real light does. Basically, that's what linear space is. And you can then do chromatic aberration, vignette, grain, color transforms back, and we're back in 8-bit color. So although we don't have the gamut to begin with, at the moment there are models that generate 16-bit color, and that's where we headed. But this is laying the foundation. We are all, this whole thing is in linear color space. So that's really a good start. Once models start producing 16-bit color, we're A for away. 1025. Okay. Color. What else did I want to show you? We've got some audio tools. We've got 3D tools. We've got a very cool. It's actually the first 3D tool that I've just created at the moment. I've got big plans for 3D. We've got. I should just show you. We've got. If I plug that in there and we say, we get. It might take a while. Anyway, it will create a 3D asset of that character. I'm not going to do it now because I've only got 5 minutes left. But it's pretty cool. We've also got let me just show you in PAL. We're going to PAL. We've also got a Marvel World Labs. World Labs no. So what you can do is you can actually go on set, take some pictures, and it actually generates Gaussian splats from a single image. But if you take multiple images on set, you can plug them in here and it'll generate a Gaussian splat of your set or your environment capture. Works pretty well. If I go into PAL, I can then just drag and drop that Gaussian splat into my drive. If you put it in, again, if you put it in your source objects folder, you can see splats. There you go. This was an 800, almost 900 meg splat. It compresses it almost 10 times once you upload it. If you go in here, you go to volumetric tab in PAL, and then load splat. You can load the splat through PAL, and then once it's uploaded, it'll be available in your library here. If you go to where was it? The splat. Here we go. Drag it in there. It downloads it. What is it? 80 meg. Give it a second. And then what you can do is then use that in your AI gens. So if you go to your camera, you can then set a frame, maybe something like this. I don't know, something, change focal, something like that. Set a keyframe, and then render. So we don't need those guys. Save to drive, save render. Render. You can then say take the beauty into the ref, say sunset, golden hour. .1 flash. And you could use, you could use whatever vendor you like, whatever your favorite, whatever your favorite. And then you can, you can work into these. You can say, you know, do your 1080. You could work in, you could, you could basically do compositing. You can mask stuff. We've got a cool mask node. Like so. Basically plug that in there. Actually, no, wait, let's go. Yeah. And then you can say mask. make sure it's on black, save, and then have another nano node and say this guy into there, and this guy to that one, and say solid golden hour, French country, or what do you say, church steeple. In mosque area only. I don't know, that might, let's see what it gives us. So sometimes there's two lanes. There's a preview lane and then there's the actual render lane. So when you're previewing things, they do need to get rendered when you run things. So like the resize has to get rendered for final, for to be ingested correctly. Okay, that didn't quite work. But you can get it to work. I think it's because this is the wrong. What is that? That's the wrong. Let's try this. Church steeple in mask area only. In mask area only. In image 2 from. Anyway, yeah, it might not work. You got to find the right prompt. Let's try that. But I think you get the idea. And I think that's it. I think we're out of time. Thanks for your patience. It was a little bit of a shaky start, but I think we're good. I hope that gives you a good idea. And I would love to follow this up. I've got some other core components. There's another thing I'm quite excited to share, but it's not ready at the moment. It's quite a big part of the system, but I will be putting out another video soon. So thanks very much, guys, and hit me up with any questions. Yeah, please send any questions or queries to bradley@lenscowboy.com. It is a subscription-based service, and I am aiming it at more at professional creatives and studios, small studios. So somewhere between the average teen influencer in his bedroom, and between like D-Neg and those guys. You know, we're not aiming, certainly not the Foundry and that kind of thing. But yeah, somewhere in the middle ground, somewhere there. I think there's a sweet spot. Yeah. Thanks very much, guys. Ciao.